Actress Charlize Theron said in a recent interview that there's a bias going on in Hollywood and that studio executives are not giving other actresses a chance to star in female action movies. And yes, that's true. She thinks there needs to be more female-led action movies, and for some reason, Hollywood just isn't greenlighting them. I personally don't buy into that, but let's look at this article from That Park Place that's talking about what she actually said during this interview. Charlize Theron claims Hollywood has a double standard for female action movies, but does reality back her up? I'm just going to say it right now. No, reality does not back her up. There's plenty of female-led action movies out there. Some of them are successful, other ones not so much. And she's saying that the only reasons some actresses are not action stars is basically because of this bias within the entertainment industry. And I think there's a lot of other factors in play as to why that's the case, and not just because Hollywood is being biased against women. Charlize Theron is sounding the alarm on what she sees as an unfair playing field for female action movies. In a recent interview with the New York Times, the Oscar-winning actress claimed that Hollywood gives male stars more chances to succeed in the action genre, even after they fail. But is that true? Yeah, it's harder. That's known, Theron told the outlet. Action films with female leads don't get greenlit as much as the ones with male leads. I think the thing that always frustrates me is the fact that guys will get a free ride. I don't think it's that guys are getting a free ride where it's like, okay, we have an action movie. Who can star in it? Either a guy or a woman. And they're always just choosing the guy because of a bias. I think a lot of this just simply has to deal with the fact that the target audience for most action movies is guys. And while there are plenty of women out there who enjoy action movies, a lot of those women enjoy action movies with guys in the lead role to them. So they don't want to see an action movie with a female lead in it, and guys don't want to watch an action movie with a female lead. Now, is that to suggest that they can never succeed? No, like I said, there's plenty of other action movies out there with female leads. In fact, Charlize Theron herself, her existence in the entertainment industry kind of refutes this, because she's started a number of action movies, including even as the lead, not even just a co-star or something like a love interest or anything like that, but like actually the action star of the movie, and has had quite a successful career within that genre. So it just goes to show that women can actually work in an action genre, or at least they can make successful movies within the action genre. It's just not all actresses are cut out for that sort of thing. And I think when she's saying how males tend to get more of a free ride or more of a pass, where if they're in a movie that doesn't succeed, they can always star in another action movie, whereas female stars don't necessarily get that kind of thing. It's like, I think a lot of it just has to deal with the fact that some studios don't have confidence that women can actually carry an action movie. And when they do actually hire them for the lead in an action movie, maybe they're like, okay, we don't necessarily think that they're the best for the job, or we believe that they can actually work in this situation. And then they star in the movie fails, and they're like, okay, I guess that just kind of proves the point that they're just not cut out for it. But when you get someone like Charlize Theron, where the movie is successful, they're like, okay, I guess she can actually hold her own in an action movie, so we can continue to give her work in that genre. Theron, who has built a reputation as a legitimate action star through films like Mad Max Fury Road, Atomic Blonde, and Netflix's The Old Guard, expresses frustration with her claims that women are often given only one chance to succeed in the genre before being sidelined. When women do this and the movie maybe doesn't fully hit fully, they don't necessarily get a chance again, she added. It's not a risk that studios want to take, but they'll take it many times on the same guy who might have a string of action movies that did not do so well. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that have a string of action movies that didn't do well, but they might have also have a number of action movies that did do well, because a lot of guys kind of make a name for themselves just starring in action movies. Someone that really stands out in my mind is Jason Statham, because he's an actor who's done a lot of action movies. Some are just terrible movies. Other ones are very enjoyable and are successful for their respective studios. And I think people like that get a little bit of a break, because that's pretty much their whole niche. And even though not everything can be a winner, when they do succeed, they usually succeed fairly well, or at least they're reliable enough. Whereas you get some women who just kind of have a career of doing different types of roles. It could be more comedies, dramas, what have you, just a variety of types of roles. And then they try their hand at an action movie. It just doesn't work. And they're like, okay, well then maybe not give them a chance at another action movie. Maybe you should just kind of stick to what you're good at. And the same can be said for some people who basically make a name for themselves in the action genre. If you just have a career starring in those type of things, and then you try to step outside of that and do a more dramatic role or something like that, then some people will be like, okay, maybe just stick to action movies or stick to what you're good at. And it's not even just about this genre. There's a lot of actors who make a name for themselves in a particular genre, and whenever they try to step outside that, a lot of people think, okay, you should have just stuck to what you're good at. And I think that happens more times than not when it comes to women in action movies, is that they're just not cut out for it. So people are saying just kind of stick to what you're good at. Charlize Theron is trying to say that there's some type of bias within the industry, but I don't think that's the case. It really is just a matter of people are not interested in watching these type of movies, the type of movies that they want to see. Even if they have a female action movie, it has to be something catered to that, and it has to actually be a little bit believable. And what we currently get in the crop of female action movies just doesn't work for what kind of, at least it doesn't work in the same context as if you were to have a male star within that role. Despite Theron's claims, studios have invested heavily in female-fronted action projects, particularly the last 5 years. However, many of these efforts have struggled at the box office, even when tied to major franchises. Take Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, for example. Yeah, that movie was just kind of meh. At least that's what I thought it was. Meanwhile, Mad Max, Fury Road, I thought that was good. Not necessarily because of Charlize Theron's involvement in it, although I do think she did a good job in that movie. That movie was successful because it was starring Mad Max. Then when you make the sequel or prequel to it that removes Mad Max, it just goes to show what the draw of that movie was, and it was the male lead and not necessarily the females in it. Released in May 2025, the film starred Anya Taylor-Joy in the prequel to the acclaimed Mad Max Fury Road. And I actually like Anya Taylor-Joy in a lot of other things. I just don't think she was suited for that particular role. And there's nothing wrong with that. She's good in a lot of other things, so she should stick to those other things and not necessarily try to venture out into a different type of genre. With a production budget of approximately $168 million, the film grossed just over $174 million globally, far short of what would be needed to break even. And then it has more of a breakdown, talks about other movies like Madam Web, for instance, and more recently Ballerina, or what's the whole one from the John Wick universe, Ballerina, or whatever the title for that one was, though. Says here it only earned around $128 million globally on a reported budget of $90 million. Now, to be fair, the John Wick franchise, at least the first movie in the franchise, didn't fare that much better. I mean, I think adjusted for inflation, the budget would have been around half of what they spent on Ballerina, but the box office gross was something similar. So that was a slight profit. But again, that was also a brand new movie, completely unknown in the, it didn't have a franchise. This one had a little bit of that advantage that it was built off of something that was done previously, not only 4 other movies, but a show too. So they had a little bit of advantage, but still it wasn't enough to actually turn a profit at the box office. But when you get females leading movies in other genres that are more suited for a female audience, because like I said, when it comes to action movies, the guys who want to see it tend to want to see a movie with another guy as the lead. Women who want to see an action movie that has guys in the lead. And when you're trying to cater it to a female audience, and that's usually what happens when a female-led action movie fails, it's because they're trying to go for a different audience. They're like, well, not enough women go see action movies, so if we make one with a female star, then that'll bring in more women. It's like, no, all it does is just alienating the existing audience that you have. But if they stick to what females are actually more accustomed to, like we saw with Barbie, when that came out, that was highly successful because it was a movie in a genre made for women that appeals more towards the women demographic, and that's why it worked. It's the same with a lot of rom-coms and other things like that. Those are catering towards a female demographic, and those are the type of people who actually go and watch those movies. You're not going to get a rom-com and be like, oh, let's try to make it more focused on men, or let's try to attract the male demographic. I mean, there's some out there that have mass appeal, but if you were to do that, all it would do is basically alienate the existing audience you have, and that would fail. I mean, to me, this is just kind of along the same line. Complaining that there's not enough women leading action movies is like complaining that there's not enough men leading rom-coms, and it's just kind of a ridiculous idea, but I mean, there's some people out there who believe it. But as I said, Charlize Theron just complaining about this. I mean, her existence within Hollywood just kind of proves that what she's saying right now is completely false. But Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you agree with her, disagree with her, or do you think there's other factors at play? Also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.